Hello, welcome to a very happy Carrow Road. I am very pleased to be able to say, as Norwich City have hopefully sparked life into a survival push in the Premier League. A 1-0 win over Bournemouth, and wow, was it needed. The feeling of a release of pressure at full time was absolutely huge, cannot be underestimated. It had the feeling of last season to it, as you saw the players going around the pitch, applauding the fans, thanking them for some really excellent support today. Daniel Farke enjoying his victory waves, and he's not been able to enjoy that too many times this season. Just a second win in 18 games for the Canaries in the league. Of course, they did win at Preston in the FA Cup recently, and bouncing back from a 4-0 defeat to Manchester United. There goes one of the lights. That looks a little bit better, actually, so I'm fine with that. They are still 6 points adrift from safety in the Premier League, but of course they drag themselves closer to Bournemouth, who they are now just 3 points away from. Let's just brighten that a little bit. And they are back in the fight. They go to Tottenham on Wednesday night, who are in a slightly funny place at the moment. No Harry Kane, of course. He's out with a long-term injury, and they needed a penalty save from Gazzaniga to get a 0-0 draw at Watford today, who of course are resurgent. That point keeps them 6 points ahead of Norwich. That was the lunchtime game, but it didn't come easily. Never does with Norwich, does it? It was a very hard-fought game, and there was, I won't say there's VAR controversy in this one. VAR was involved, but in the end, the correct decisions were arrived at. 2 red cards, 1 apiece. Bournemouth coming in the first half, crucially. Just to take a quick step back, though, the teams, Andre Duda goes straight in for Norwich, fresh in from Germany, on loan from Hertha Berlin, gets the start. Mario Vrancic not involved today. Kenny McLean dropped into central midfield alongside Alex Tettey, and Ben Godfrey also came straight in. He'd been out for a month with that knee injury, came straight back in for Grant Hanley, but it was a dramatic day for Ben. He was that Norwich player to get the red card, and I think that means he will miss 3 games, including the FA Cup game, so 2 Premier League games. Need to check that, but I'm pretty sure that is right. Bournemouth also made 3 changes. They brought Philip Billing back into midfield. Their goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale was back from having missed their 3-0 home defeat to Watford last weekend. They were. This is now 10 defeats in 12 for them. They are in big trouble. And the other change was at left back. Diego Rico came in for them, and Bournemouth were okay. They certainly, it wasn't a no-show from them, but Norwich deserved the win. I don't think too many people watching this game would quibble with that. Just have a quick look at the stats. Norwich 66% of possession, 16 shots to Bournemouth 6, and 5 of those were on target to Bournemouth 3. So a good day for Norwich overall. It all was kicked off with the penalty incident and a brilliant save from Steve Cook, who's not allowed to make saves, a defender for Bournemouth. I think Christoph Berra here for Ipswich in the playoff semi-final 2015, similar to that sort of incident. Duda, who looked very bright, he certainly has got a good touch on him. Looks like he's 2-footed. Certainly looks like he's a Premier League level player, although he did tire in the second half, understandably, given he's not played a lot of football for Hertha Berlin this season. So he did come off midway through the second half, but he was pivotal to the decisive goal. He heads on to Todd Cantwell, who flicks a pass through to Teemu Pukki. Ramsdale does get out to charge down Pukki's shot. The ball falls almost kindly for Duda, but we were right behind it in the press box and can see it perfectly, and he just immediately reacted and poked the ball over the defenders and the keeper. Ball's going in, but then a Maradona-style hand from Steve Cook emerges, and he leaps through the air to tip the ball onto the post. A brilliant save. There's absolutely no need for VAR, seemingly, in the moment. We're all wondering why it goes to VAR. It's very clearly a red card. Cook's already gone down the tunnel. The penalty's been awarded. Teemu Pukki's waiting to score. It does go to VAR, and having seen a replay back after the game, which probably the people in the stadium wouldn't have been aware of, it appears that they were looking at a possible handball from Cantwell when he played the ball through. But I think they've come to the right decision. It's difficult to tell. Certainly not a clear and obvious error. It may have just brushed his hand. Didn't make any difference to the play because he was just passing the ball forward. So hopefully that all came to the right conclusion. And then it's over to Mr. Pukki, who's been waiting for that 10th goal of the season for a little while, since the draw at Leicester before Christmas. And that 10th goal of the Premier League season not only takes into double figures, not only means my former Mustard TV colleague Jake Watson, who now works for TalkSport, is going to be getting a Teemu Pukki tattoo on his backside, so we look forward to seeing how that one develops. But it was also a 40th goal for the club in pretty much 18 months for Pukki, which is not half bad at all. Of course, won so many awards: Player of the Season last year, Championship Player of the Season, just won Athlete of the Year in Finland, which is their equivalent of the BBC Sports Personality, really. Footballers very rarely win that, only the third football player to win that, behind Sami Hyypiä and Jari Litmanen. And he pulls level in joint 33rd place in City's all-time top goal scorers list with Phil Boyer, Paul McVeigh and Justin Fashanu. And not far away are Cameron Jerome, Kevin Rees, Chris Sutton and Dale Gordon. So some real esteemed former Norwich City players that Pukki is catching up with in the top 50 list. So he's a very happy man. He blasts the penalty, basically reads the keeper well, blasts the penalty into the roof of the net at the River End, and that sets Norwich on their way. But of course, Leeds have been a precarious issue for Norwich. That was the 8th time in 11 games that they'd taken the lead. But for once, they held on to it. The only time they'd done that in those 11 games was the 2-0 win at Everton. So there was definitely nerves around. They should have put the game to bed. There were chances. It was 1-0 at half-time, but then Buendia put Pukki through, and he really should have wrapped it up early in the second half. Just typical Buendia, splits the defence, Pukki's clean through, and essentially Ramsdale, who's the England under-21 goalkeeper, it's like a penalty save. He guesses correctly, dives down to his left, reads where Pukki's going to get it, and gets down low to make an important save. Ramsdale then also denied Buendia with his feet, and Duda with a lovely sort of low prod, although he didn't quite connect with it fully. But they were important because it kept the game in the balance, thanks to Ben Godfrey getting a red card in the 77th minute. It happened in the Bournemouth half. They were trying to counter-attack. Callum Wilson on the ball, and really, obviously, it's easy in hindsight. Godfrey should shepherd him, keep shepherding him wide, and make sure that he can't get the ball away. But instead, Ben tries to win the ball, studs up, and initially the referee gives a yellow card. Wilson's left in a heap, just off the pitch near the dugouts, so the Bournemouth players are very unhappy at that point, and a yellow card is shown pretty quickly. But up in the press box we get to see the replays that of course the home fans don't get to see during the game, and as soon as we saw it, we thought he was in trouble. There was clear contact, quite similar to the one that happened with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, the Arsenal striker, last weekend, and then the sort of momentous thing that then happened was that the referee went across to the screen. Finally, a referee using the VAR screen as it was intended, as they do in other leagues around the world, I believe, has a look at it. In the meantime, there's some handbags kicking off. Tim Krul in the middle of that and does get booked for that. Norwich players taking exception basically to the Bournemouth players who were calling for a red card. To be fair, correctly, as has been shown in the end, and I'm sure when Ben looks back at it, he will be disappointed with it, and it's one where it's just a rash decision, and now he's going to have to sit out 3 games. So that's unfortunate for him, given that he's just got back from an injury. So then, of course, it's sort of panic stations, and really the last 15 minutes or so, including 5 minutes of added time, was nervous, chaotic, scrappy. There were no huge chances really. Godfrey had made one good block from Nathan Ake early in the second half during a bit of pinball after a corner had come into the Norwich box, but in terms of clear chances late on, there weren't too many. It was just a real arm wrestle from that point, and Norwich just about managed to see it out. Daniel Farke then rolled through his substitutes. Grant Hanley came on straight away to make sure that they still had 4 at the back. Josip Dermich came back from his 2 months out injured. He replaced Pukki, who was pretty knackered with I think it was 8 minutes to go. And then we also saw a late debut for Lucas Whoop, who has come in permanently from Hoffenheim, midfielder. Didn't really get any chance to do much. I'm not even sure he touched the ball many times, to be honest, because there was only 2 minutes of injury time left to play. But they saw it out, and yeah, it was it felt like a massive victory. We all knew, and Tim Krul honestly has just admitted when we spoke to him in the mix zone afterwards, that all the players knew full well. They'd seen all the media coverage of this game. They knew that this was must win, that they could not afford to lose it. And certainly if they'd have ended up conceding an equaliser, from the position that they were in, that they, once again, another home game that they should have put to bed more comprehensively. It should have been 2-0 and shouldn't have been as nervous, even with the red card. They knew how much was riding on this one, and now they're back in the fight. They've got the opportunity, but it's just the start. If they cannot build on this, then of course they remain bottom of the table. They're still 6 points from safety, so there's a heck of a lot of work to do. But they can go to Tottenham buoyed by this, can go and give it a real good go. I mean, let's not forget that it was only December the 28th, I think I'm recalling that one right, that Spurs were here. Palace was New Year's Day, wasn't it? Spurs December 28th, and Norwich should have beaten Spurs that day, and they had Harry Kane then. He's now injured, the England captain. They're in a funny place, Spurs. Norwich should have gone 2-0 up in that game. You'll remember it's the Pukki goal that was ruled out by VAR after that wonderful pass from Mario Vrancic. So that could have been 2-0, but it ended up being 2-2. So there's nothing to fear. Equally, no one can expect them to get points at Tottenham, so they just need to go and give it another good crack. And I think the big thing that the fans really appreciated today was they saw just 100% commitment. Not that it's been far below that recently, it's been more that they just haven't quite had the quality to get over the line in quite a few of the games in the last sort of 2 months. But there was one moment that I really liked towards the end when Sam Byram lost possession and the ball looped upwards, and it looked like I think it was Philip Billing for Bournemouth was going to win it, and it was just a case of get out of my way, I'm winning that ball. Chucks himself through the air to make sure that he wins the ball back, gets it to Todd Cantwell, and then City get the ball in the corner and eventually win a couple of corners. So lots of positives all around. A third clean sheet of the season, which is of course very good for the confidence for Krul and the defence. And overall, a very positive day. Todd Cantwell got the sponsors man of the match, and I think that was spot on. I think him and Buendia were really, really good. Buendia, again, a very clear-cut opportunity created. He's clearly snatching at scoring opportunities, though. He really is desperate to get that first goal. He did actually have a header in the first half. He triggered the move. Max Aarons puts the ball in from the right, and then it's Emi desperately trying to get on the end of it at the back post and couldn't divert it in, but he couldn't really make contact with it properly anyway. So hopefully he can get his first goal soon, because that's clearly something that's playing on his mind, and he deserves it. He's played well enough to have a goal on his record, his first Premier League goal, of course that would be. I think that just about wraps it. We will soon be back with you, of course, at Wednesday night at Tottenham, one that we're all looking forward to, the fans lucky enough to have tickets, and us guys in the media to go to that lovely new stadium. We'll bring you plenty of video coverage. Make sure you've got the Pinkin app if you haven't already got it. We're going to try and get there nice and early so that we can sort of show you around as much as we're allowed to. It really does look a very special place, to be honest, but if Norwich can get a point there, then they're really, really back in this, and they go to Newcastle after that FA Cup game at Burnley. So it just keeps things interesting, adds that little bit of hope for everybody, and a positive day to be enjoyed all around. Please do head over to pinkin.com to read the full report, analysis and reaction. Me and Paddy will have much more for you on Sunday and throughout the week. I also spoke to Todd Cantwell and Sam Byram, so we've got stuff coming from them. And I think that'll about do it for now. So it's finished Norwich City 1, Bournemouth 0. Thank you very much for watching. We will catch up with you very soon.